I've played plenty of games that revolve around detective work, LA Noire, Murdered Soul Suspect, Sherlock, etc. So coming into BlackSad I had expectations, even more so since this game was based off a comic book series, meaning they had a good bit of resource to work with. The question is, with all the resources and tons of detective games to go off of, how does this one hold its own? Well, I'm about to tell you. My name is Tanner and this is For Your Money. A different kind of review. BlackSad is a private detective who's drowning in debt. He's at the lowest point in his life, troubled by his lost wife and PTSD. As luck would have it, John gets a visitor, Sonia Dunn, telling him how her father, Joe Dunn, who is also the owner of a boxing gym, hanged himself, and Bobby Yale, who was training under Dunn for a fight, has gone missing. Bobby Yale is supposed to have a big fight with boxing champ Al Stone, but now that he's gone missing, Sonia has to pay a large fee or hire John to find him so he can fight. When you visit the boxing gym, something's off about Joe Dunn's suicide scene. Things aren't adding up except the amount of people who can benefit from Joe's death and Bobby's disappearance. At first I wasn't getting into BlackSad's story. It felt kind of bland, but I kept pushing through, and towards the middle and the end things started to really kick off. Things got interesting once you got caught in the town's most infamous criminals, gamblers, and athletes. Every character did feel unique. You bust into their personal lives trying to find out any motive, and you end up learning about their families and the life they had before you stepped in. My reason for liking this was simply it made everyone a suspect. They want to act all friendly towards you at first, but then they start lying and they're holding the truth, and all of it is vital to the case. But once they explain why they lied or hid information from you, you can't help but empathize because you understand their pain and struggles. Overall, I enjoyed BlackSad's story. Now, it wasn't anything special, but the characters in this game really make the story great. If they weren't so distinctive, then the story would crumble right beneath its feet. Another thing to add is, you'll want to pay attention to the story because the gameplay won't have you interested, and I'll explain. BlackSad plays like a Telltale's game, but not point and click style. Fixed camera angles, as you would want in a game like this. Walk up to an item and investigate and see how it pertains to the case. After investigating a scene, you'll talk to the people around you and see what you can get from them, and hopefully something you investigated in the area will give you leverage on that person you're talking to. But sometimes it takes more than that. Sometimes you have to be understanding to whatever the person says. As I said in the story section, you gotta empathize. That goes a long way in this game. Depending on how conversations go and what you do, that will change the way the character acts, if they're present in future scenes, and above all, you might even get new clues allowing you to deduct them and make sense of it all. When deducting, you open up a menu that has all your clues on it, and now you can pick 2 or sometimes 3 clues that go hand in hand. After doing this, it gives you a lead. Now, it doesn't actually call it a lead, but after deducting, you have a good idea of where you need to head and who to talk to. Now, an issue I face when deducting is a lot of times after obtaining a piece of information from someone, it would be marked by an icon in the upper right corner which tells you you have a clue that matches something else you have. Problem was, the information I gained wasn't in the menu, so some things I couldn't make sense of. I could sometimes quit the game and start it back and the clue would be in the menu, but that wouldn't work every time. I even had an issue where new clues would be in my menu and I never obtained them. So yeah, in short, the whole deducting is buggy as hell. Now, one thing in games like this I love is the Qte Combat. Swipe your analog stick left, right, tap this button. So this game was going good for the first 5 minutes because it opens with a fight scene. Sadly, most of these come near the end of the game. Now, this game is very story heavy with a few combat sequences in there, which isn't an issue, but for example, they had this awesome artistic opportunity where John is fighting in an alley and all you see is shadows projected on a wall. They could have made that a combat sequence, but they didn't. And honestly, this game feels like it had a lot of missed opportunities. Which brings me to another issue speaking about QTEs. I would fail a mission sometimes because the QTEs wouldn't appear on my screen the first go round. Once I had to help someone roll over so they wouldn't choke to death, but I failed because no buttons were ever prompted on the screen. So yeah, BlackSad is a buggy mess. I experienced multiple crashes. I had to quit out of my game due to all the characters disappearing, random clues being in menus, and clues not showing up. Now before I head into the design, a lot of people compared this game to a point and click style, but I wouldn't say that. The only time that's relevant is when you use your cat senses to figure a person out, but that's it. Granted, you do it pretty often, but not enough, and I definitely wouldn't say that that's a point and click style. Graphical wise, BlackSad doesn't look bad. At worst, I'd say it's an early Xbox One or PS4 looking game. There are a bit of pop-in graphics when you're walking on sidewalks or some textures that need a load, but that's nothing to lose a screw over. I did see where some people like the dialogue, and honestly it goes 50-50. BlackSad doesn't have the worst writing. What could be taken for cheeseball is merely just a character being themselves, although there is some cheeseball and it might make you cringe. The voice acting in the game wasn't bad. When it wanted to be good, trust me, it was good. But there are other times like the laughing and the crying, it just felt forced and it was very cringy. A couple of times I ran into an issue where someone would say the first few words of their line, say them again, and then the next couple pieces of dialogue would either be cut out or rushed. Aside from that, I'll say this. BlackSad has one killer soundtrack. It's a lot of jazz pieces that fit into the time period, and often it goes well with the atmosphere. I for one appreciate jazz to the fullest, so this is 2 thumbs up for me. So here's a few clips of the sound.
If anything threatens either of these two, I take matters into my own hands. The first time that someone died because of me, even though all I did was rat him out,
led me to this enormous tree in the yard where Daddy had put up a tire swing. X marks the spot, so I dug to find my treasure. I loved the music it played, the ballerina, and the little secret compartment.
Is that done? Wow.
When all said and done, if you've been looking into BlackSad for a good detective story and fun gameplay, I'll say that it's not all there, at least not yet. We live in a day and age where bugs can easily be fixed by dev teams, making a review from the day before obsolete. When a patch hits, I'll revisit this game and maybe share my thoughts again. But for now, I'm giving BlackSad Under the Skin a $15 out of $40 price tag. Now let me explain again why I'm giving it $15. My game crashed a lot. I experienced tons of bugs, some of which made me restart my game and others made me fail certain missions. Now yes, it was a phenomenal gaming experience, as all gaming experiences should be, and I want to see this game recover from a buggy launch, as well as play upcoming titles from the same devs. If this video helped shed some light on BlackSad Under the Skin, then why not subscribe? And if it sucked, well, shit. Hit that thumbs down, I guess.